This is South Arete, a scrappy and rarely ascended Grade 1 route up to Foel Goch on the less fashionable and more remote side of Ogwen. Today I drove past Ogwen Cottage and the Visitors Centre and parked up next to the old single-track Farmers Road and made my way up the grassy hillside. As you can see here, Pinna Olawen is directly behind me with Trevan in the distance. En route, I was actually distracted a little bit and went too far to the right of this hillside, and I had to traverse back left to regain the approach line. If you do come up here, this is a landmark worth looking for. It's a man-made dry stone wall perched on a flattish area of the hillside. The South Arete route is located directly above this, but to get to the start, I had to zigzag a little bit up the hillside over a mix of scrambly rock, grass and heather. South Arete is located to the left of a prominent gully with Needles Eye Arete on the right hand side. This photo here shows you the start of the route. It was taken from a point well above that dry stone wall that I just showed you. The line isn't obvious here and there are several options to get onto the Arete, but all of them are just a tad to the left of that gully that I showed you earlier. Now this really is wild country up here, and while there's some really good scrambling to be had, the route is remote and esoteric. It's certainly not one for the masses. Further up, the ridge does coalesce into a more defined arete, but the start is easy to miss, and as you can see from here, definitely a little bit on the scrappy side. Now looking at my camera footage here, you can see that the mist has rolled in, and this just adds to the atmosphere on the route today. While this isn't everybody's cup of tea, the line is broken and covered in lichen and heather in places, but when the scrambling is good, it's actually very good, to be honest. Now if you like these less obvious scrambles where you kind of need to use your nod a little bit to stay en route, then I think the South Arete would be a good choice. And being on the quiet side of Ogwen, it's unlikely you'll bump into many people up here. As you watch me scrambling up this line, look at the arete on the other side of the gully. This is Needles Eye Arete, which is steeper and looser in places and is up a few notches at grade 3. So the line on this South Arete sometimes stays close to the edge of the gully, but also sometimes it drifts leftwards, perhaps 15 metres or so away from the gully. The rock up here is often in the shade, is lichenous, and it takes time to dry out, so this scramble is probably best attempted in the summer after a period of dry weather. I had to go super slow today due to the ground conditions, but as you can see, there's some moments of really good scrambling here and there. There are some lines on this route that are well above the grade, but they can all be avoided. And to be honest with you, I think a 1+ rating feels about right to me. Here I'm making my way up the slippery rock towards a landmark of sorts. It's a small man-made wall just to the left of a huge obstacle. I step over this rocky wall and then up to some decent rock and onto the next challenge, which is a huge, unmistakable, unmissable blocking wall. I managed to find a line to the right which weaved rightwards and then up and behind this huge wall. Now I'm not sure if that wall can be tackled directly. It looked a little bit tough for a grade 1+ route, but to the right and behind it was a fairly easy and slightly worn path of sorts, which you can see here with that rocky wall over my left shoulder. From here there was a final burst of scrambling up a rocky outcrop, and then just like that I reached the end of this short scramble and onto a well-worn path. From here I made my way up towards Foel Goch and then trended south towards Egan, and I then took the steep tourist path down the northeast ridge up towards Llanidwell and then on to the Ogwen Cottage Visitor Centre, and from here it was only a 15-minute walk or so back to my car. So that's it, folks. A nice sort of short and fairly straightforward scramble today. I rate this route 1 star out of 3 for fun, and I'm also going to give it a grade 1+ for difficulty, although it might feel a little more challenging if you're not used to being on slippery rocks like this. I actually think it would be best attempted in the dry, and it's not a route for beginners or those who have issues with navigation. But to sum up the scramble in one word, I would say esoteric. So that's it, folks. I'll see you on the next one. All the best.